So I'll go from back to front. Starting in the back, Ken Carter, Sean McNamara, Daniel Applegate, Albert Contreras, Brian Barron, Josh Atterbury, Sean Gill, Dawson Allington, and Dawson was our hard charger for the 4600 Pro Comp stock class. Scott Campbell, Toby Harvey, Liam O'Donnell, Daniel Satch, Randall Holmes, Bob Wimmer, Rob Matzel. Had a pretty good conversation with him. He's been racing a very long time. Mike DeVore, Jesse Oliver, John Grounds, Dustin Sexton, Michael Kiesling, Jonathan Terhune, Dwayne Garrettson, Shane Smith, Cody St. Clair, John Matthews, Jade Wickham, Jason Bunch, Sean Ratsky, Sean Rance Sr., Rick Levezzo, Jimmy Jack, Jody Ford, Kent Foltz, Matt Howe, Brad Lovell, David Hartman, Cade Rod, and our two fast guys up front, Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Casey Gilbert. So that'll be the fun ones to watch. So we have roughly 40 competitors entered in today's limited race. Again, there are 3 different classes all mixed together. We'll have the 4600 Pro Comp stock class, the 4800 G2 Legends class, and the 4500 Rubicon Express class. So we got a cool shot on screen, walking down the start line. There's John Grounds, Daystar sponsored machine, driving his Jeep. We are just minutes away from going green flag racing, doing our final safety checks, making sure everything's in line. The ambulance is here, safety crew out on course. We just finished up the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Make sure to check out the merchandise tent. Roxy's over there selling event t-shirts and Ultra 4 swag and hats. Daddy's Food's right behind us, serving up cold drinks and hot food all day long. Great to have them out here. They've fed us all weekend. Thank you once again to Daddy's Food. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. This is an East meets West race. So the Laser Nut Western Series and the Four Wheel Parts Eastern Series. So it is a dual point if you are signed up for both series. We've had roughly 145 race cars signed up to race today. I'm hearing through the PCI radio race-offs. We're getting ready to get this party started. We're moments away from green flag racing. Casey Gilbert will be the first off the line. We'll do it in 30-second increments. So behind him, it'll be Vaughn Gittin Jr., then Cade Rod, David Hartman, Brad Lovell, Matt Howell, Kent Foltz, Jody Ford, Jimmy Jack, Rick Levezzo. We got a lot of racing coming up. And don't forget, 1 o'clock, as long as we keep on course, will be the 4400 Unlimited Big Boys. Thank you again, everybody back home, for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook, hit that share button. Check out Instagram, do all the hashtags. Share with friends, share with family, share with your neighbor. So again, there will be 3 separate classes racing all at the same time, so it's going to be really hard to keep everything separated, but we'll do our best. I'm Miles Hasselquist alongside Shannon Welch. We are all staged up. Race action should be going down any moment. The 4800 G2 Legends class and the 4500 Rubicon Express class will be intermixed up front with the 4600 Pro Comp stock class starting from the rear. There's a great shot of Albert Contreras from Compton, California. The 4605 Fury sponsored machine, Jeep Thrills. The Nitto Tire hauler is on site alongside with the Renegade Race Fuel hauler. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. Thank you for everybody that's on site and tuned in all over the world. We've got a bunch in Europe. We got it all over the country. So get on the King of the Hammers Facebook. Keep tuned in. There's a great shot of our KMC hard charger, Casey Gilbert. Just minutes away from taking the green flag. So I've got Boston Kyle with me. He does a lot of the behind the scenes for the King of the Hammer safety crew. It seems like everything's going smooth out there. What's your take on things?
Yeah, man, we just lined up all the cars for the EMC. Everybody's looking good. Everyone's in line. Gonna make some dust out there.
And speaking about dust, Casey Gilbert is hot on course. We have a live race course. We'll be starting 30-second increments. Vaughn Gittin Jr. getting ready to take off any moment. This will be on corrected time. Remember, there are 3 separate classes going, so it's going to be tough to get it going. But there's Vaughn Gittin Jr. I hear his motor screaming off. It's a beautiful sunny day. The wind is blowing. The wind will be the racer's friend. But some of these low-lying areas could be a little tricky back in those tight wood sections for the dust. It will play a factor. So third off the line will be Cade Rod, part of Jimmy's Army. Up next will be David Hartman. In King of the Hammers, we had Mike Seward riding shotgun with him, but I don't believe he's here with us this weekend, but I'm sure he's tuned in. So we've got roughly 40 cars to send off the line, so this should take around 20 minutes to get all cars on the race course. 30-second increments. And this just goes to show how important yesterday's KMC qualifying went. It's a great shot from our live drone on screen. You can see how thick that dust is out there. So I believe David Hartman is on course. Sorry, Brad Lovell just took off. The 232 AMSOIL powered machine. He's been racing with us a very long time, but a crowd favorite, one of my buddies, Matt Howell, getting ready to take off. Part of Tribe 4x4. with Adam Shear riding co-driver. I saw him have the polisher out on that thing last night. He always has to be looking good. Matt Howell on course. Coming up next should be Kent Foltz, the 4805. But I don't see Kent. I see Jody Ford on screen. We do our best to bring you the most accurate action we can. But remember, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm watching the same thing you guys are seeing. So Jody Ford, Team Brannick on course. Right behind him, another crowd favorite, Jimmy Jack with his fiancee Amy riding shotgun. Talk about relationship building 101. Try racing with your significant other. Faster, slower. Lots of action to come today. Jimmy Jack's a heavy Nitto-sponsored machine, number 63 on course. I just love that high view from the drone. Shows you how big this place is. So remember, this is a loop and a B loop. It is 24 miles combined. The Pro Comp stock class will do ABA, so basically a lap and a half. The other two classes, the 4500 Rubicon Express class and the G2 4800 Legends class, will do AB, so 2 full laps for the fast guys. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. So I believe Rick Levezzo just took off, and Sean Rance Sr. We've been racing for roughly 5 minutes. And the fast guys with the UTVs will ran the Loop A in about 20 minutes, so we could see a leader coming in as the last car takes off. It'll be very close. And I assume Casey Gilbert and Vaughn Gittin Jr. are going to be pushing extremely hard to keep their out front in that clean air. So after each loop, A and B, they will come into the Holley EFI short course. So on site, we'll have lots of action in here, taking off in 30-second increments. This will be a corrected time race. Casey Gilbert, part of the Miller Motorsports team. Vaughn Gittin Jr., part of Jimmy's 4x4. Vaughn Gittin, you probably recognize that name. He does a lot of he's big in the drift world. You know, he's got a Ford Mustang that does all the drift competitions. That's his main job. And then he comes over here and does it for a hobby. But I was talking to him last night. He's having a lot of fun here. He's really debating on stepping up to go 4,400 next year. So it'll be very interesting to see. But he really enjoys racing with us here in the Ultra 4. So great to see that Nitto-sponsored driver out here. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. This is the Crossbar Ranch. You can come out here. There's roughly 6,000 acres to come putz around on. Bring your Jeep, bring your Can-Am, bring your UTV. Come check it out. Today, it's all about racing, but tomorrow it's open wheeling, so you can go check out the race course for yourself and see what these guys put themselves through. We'll be racing all day long. We have a couple concerts tonight, kicking off at 8 p.m. So Sean Ratsky, Jason Bunch, Jade Wickham, John Matthews, Cody St. Clair, Shane Smith, we're getting close to having half our guys out on course. So Jonathan Terhune, Michael Kiesling, Dustin Sexton, John Grounds, Jesse Oliver. It looks like Mike DeVore just took off. So up shortly, Rob Matzell and Bob Wimmer should be taking off.
So if you are just tuning in again, so we restart the Facebook Live after every race. So guys, if you're watching from home and you're like, where did the stream go? And you're just picking it up again because we just notified you of it live again, you're better off going to ultra4racing.com/live. It will be steady there all day long, even if it stops and restarts. You don't have to create a new thread to follow like you do if you're watching it on Facebook. So we do restart it because they do time out after 4 hours and we want you to see all the racing action. So we did just restart it on Facebook. If you're seeing it, we are just getting started with the limited classes. This is what races during the Smittyville Everyman Challenge at King of the Hammers. These are limited four-wheel drive vehicles. So they race 4500 is the Rubicon Express class. That's modified. It had to start its life out as a real vehicle of some sort, a real production vehicle. It can be heavily modified. They can run 37-inch tires out there. The 4800 G2 Legends class, that class actually started off as a place for older Ultra 4 classes to go. There are some people who build cars for that class because it's a custom chassis class. It does not need to start its life as a car. But then we have, I think, which are our toughest guys out there that are just about to start off the line, which are 4600 Pro Comp stock class. These guys are all racing together. These guys can only have 35-inch tires. They have to run the motor. They have to run what came with that car. And truly, most people who go off-roading, even casually on the weekend, have a more built car than some of those 4600s that are out there racing today. Some of these guys could drive those cars home.
It's pretty cool to see. I had a pretty good chat with Jessie Combs at King of the Hammers this year because she was racing the unlimited class and the stock class. And she said the stock class is a lot of fun because it's a driver's class. You can't just point and shoot. You have to really drive the machine. So it's cool to see all these guys mixing up. We do have 3 classes on course at the same time. Remember, there's an A loop and a B loop. They'll hit the Holley EFI short course after each loop. The stock classes will run ABA. The Rubicon Express Modified and the G2 Legends class will run AB, so 2 full laps. So you'll see them in the short course 4 times today. And I anticipate to see Casey Gilbert and Vaughn Gittin Jr. come in here within the next 10 minutes or so. The sun is shining. The wind is blowing. The dust is thick. It is a beautiful day for racing out here in Davis, Oklahoma at the Crossbar Ranch. We have Randall Holmes, Daniel Satch, Liam O'Donnell, Toby Harvey, Scott Campbell. And then we'll start the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class with the KMC Hard Charger, Dawson Allington, Sean Gill, Josh Atterbury, Brian Barron, Albert Contreras, Daniel May Applegate, Sean McNamara, and Ken Carter. We have roughly 40 cars that will be on course. And on screen, you can just tell how dusty it really is out here. So the wind will be the racer's friend today. But the guys that are up front, Casey Gilbert, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Cade Rod, they're really liking where they're sitting after yesterday's KMC qualifier. This is a East meets West, so that it is a dual points race. The 4-Wheel Parts Eastern Series and the Laser Nut Western Series. So if you're racing both series, it counts points for both races.
Right, let's talk about that dual points. Technically not dual points, it's a combined race. And I want to clarify that difference because we've had a couple of people ask us. It's a combined East and West Coast race. So we have a handful of drivers. You know, it's Mike Bergman in the 4400 class, Albert Contreras in the 4600 class, Rick Levesso, Jimmy Jack, those guys are racing both coasts. So normally that's 3 East Coast races and 3 West Coast races. This year we decided to mix it up a little bit and we are doing a East meets West. Everybody come to Oklahoma, meet in the middle of the country, and let's have it out in June, which is kind of cool because usually these guys only see each other at King of the Hammers. And then some come to Nationals, but not all of them come to Nationals, especially our furthest east, our limited classes and our UTVs we don't always see there. So it's technically a combined race. The only people who need the points for both are those that signed up to race both the East and the West because they need points for both the East and the West.
Thank you for clarifying that. I do appreciate it, Shannon. There's a lot going on out here. So I just saw Liam O'Donnell. You'll recognize that name. He drives a monster truck for a living. He races with the Line Mountain guys in Pennsylvania we raced with, and I just saw him come through the short course. He had some issues yesterday in qualifying. I hope he got his car back to going.
Yeah, so Lee O'Donnell actually didn't build that car to race Ultra 4, but he has made some modifications to make it work in our class.
And while you're talking, I do see Casey Gilbert still out front with the clean air coming into the Holley EFI short course. Casey Gilbert up front.
That was a fast lap for him for sure.
So that was less than 20 minutes. Casey Gilbert, that Miller Motorsports chassis is absolutely hauling out there. He's a great guy in the sport, very fast, extremely smooth. A fun one to watch. So now we'll have to do a little timer to see how far back Vaughn Gittin Jr. is. They are in separate classes, but physically in first, Casey Gilbert. So back to what Shannon was saying, Lee O'Donnell built his car to race the Line Mountain guys, so it's kind of cool to see him come over. He's kind of at a standstill on which way to go in his racing career, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of car he builds next. He talked about getting his kid into a UTV racing and kind of going that route, but he's also talking about building an Ultra 4 car, so it'll be interesting to see. But Casey Gilbert making quick work. Still have not seen Vaughn Gittin Jr. yet, so Casey Gilbert starting to pull away a little bit. Just as I say that, I do see Vaughn Gittin Jr. with those Nitto tires coming into the Holley EFI short course. Still running good, running smooth. So he's physically on course and second on course, but he's in first in his class. He's in the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class. Casey Gilbert is in the 4800 G2 Legends class. So as Vaughn Gittin comes in, Casey Gilbert leaves, heading out for Loop B. Both cars still look to be in great shape, and these guys are all over the throttle. The dust is flying. That just shows you how much quicker these guys are than the UTVs. We got a front row seat right here. It's going to be dusty. Here comes Cade Rod, part of Jimmy's 4x4. That's Randy Rod's son, Cotton Rod. So Cade Rod, Nitto Tire Machine, looking good. So the Holley EFI short course is starting to heat up. The wind's still blowing, but the dust is thick. That's going to become a factor today for some of the guys that are starting mid-pack. I do believe we have all cars on course. Vaughn Gittin Jr. looks like he's already heading into the hot pits. Not sure what's going on with him. It looks like all his tires are up. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the hot pits on screen. The car appears to be okay, but he's wanting to check something out. So Cade Rod heading back out, so he will be physically on course in second place. Getting around Vaughn Gittin while he's in the pits. Vaughn Gittin still checking something out. They're still both in the car. Crew's saying go, go, go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. hopefully coming back out on course. So Cade Rod's getting around, getting some time put on him. But Cade Rod is in the 4800 G2 Legends class, so that still puts Vaughn Gittin first in his class so far. The next 4500 Rubicon Express guy we should see is Matt Howell. As I say that, he's in the short course, chasing down Brad Level. Brad Level's in the 4800 G2 Legends class. So lots of action going on right in front of us. I'm right in front of the Nitto hauler. I have a great view of the short course. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. leaving the hot pits, physically on course in third position, but first in class. But remember, this is on corrected time. On screen, that's Brad Level. You recognize that name? He's raced with us for a long time. He raced Pro 2 and the Torque Series last couple of years. Just got first in class at the Baja 500 racing with his son in a UTV class. Level Racing, they keep busy. Another great shot from my live drone. So Casey Gilbert's still out front, heading out on Loop B. On screen, Vaughn Gittin Jr. You can buy that buggy at Walmart. It's a remote control car, pretty cool to see. I've bought my kids, Jade and Ella, that thing, they love it. We got Jimmy Jack all over the horn. Looks like he's trying to put a pass on Dave Hartman. Dave pulls over. Jimmy Jack gets around. Matt Howell, Brad Lovell, we got a race on our hands. I see Jody Ford entering. The dust is thick. It's really hard to see. Looks like David Hartman does have a right rear flat. Jody Ford, Brannick Motorsports. Even with all this dust, all this wind, the dust is still thick. Matt Howell starting to chase down Brad Lovell, giving him a little run for his money. They are in different classes. Looks like Matt Howell and Adam Shear may be going for a pass on Brad Lovell in the infield. Really pushing that Jeep to its limits. To watch. The Holley EFI short course. Matt Howell hot on Brad Lovell's heels. And look how bad that dust is. Matt Howell goes for the pass, sticks it. Getting around Brad Lovell, great driving by Matt Howell. Coming right in front of me, Jimmy Jack. Him and Matt Howell are, I'd call them frenemies. Great buddies, but they love to race each other. Great camaraderie in the pits also. Jimmy Jack's got his fiance Amy riding shotgun. Jody Ford looks like he's got a right front flat. So Jody Ford heading into the hot pits. Looks like David Hartman's got a right rear flat, so I told you tires are going to become an issue. There's lots of hidden rocks out there. Looks like Rick Levezzo heading into the hot pits also. I see Jade and Kyle Wickham, I believe. Actually, that's Jason Bunch, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of action going on today. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. On screen, we're watching a great battle. So these guys are coming in off of Loop A. I see another flat tire. The hot pits are going to be busy. I see David Hartman over at the Jimmy's tent in the hot pits switching out a tire. The whole crew's working hard, working fast, getting everything checked out. Well, Shannon, we've got a lot of action going on. You've been busy with your PCI radio. What do we got going?
We do. It's fun having 3 classes out there, just trying to keep track of everybody and make sure we've got this. But Casey Gilbert is absolutely in the lead. We knew that. We saw that. He has almost a full minute over Vaughn Gittin Jr. Now, they are in different classes. Cade Rod, though, you know what? We saw these 3 in Shamokin do the same thing. Casey Gilbert, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and Cade Rod, 1, 2, 3. They mixed it up. It's good, fun racing out front. So Cade Rod and Vaughn Gittin Jr. were 1 second off of each other coming through here on total time so far. So that'll be a fun one for us to be watching.
But Vaughn Gittin came into the hot pit, so Cade Rod actually got around him.
Oh, so that was at the start-finish is where I've got the times from, so that
And
would make
hot pits
sense.
is right after that,
Yep.
so
Yep.
Cade Rod is in front of him for sure.
Absolutely. So Cade's now in front of him. You know Vaughn's not going to want that to be the case. And they're teammates. They're both Jimmys. So it should be interesting to see how they battle it out there. And then after that, so we have David Hartman And then we have Brad Lovell, and those are the 4800s. Our next 4500 is Matt Howell. So it's Vaughn Gittin, and then it's Matt Howell right now.
And we saw Matt Howell do a great pass on the infield around Brad Lovell after the start finish. So Matt Howell's really pushing, trying to catch Vaughn Gittin.
Absolutely. And then third right now in that 4500 class is Sean Rance Sr. is who we've got there. We have not seen any of our 4600s come through yet. But yeah, it's looking good out there.
And look how dusty it is out there. The wind's blowing, but the dust is thick. It's going to be an interesting day of racing. Rick Lavezzo heading out of the hot pits in his bomber chassis. He's teamed up with Jimmy Jack. There is action everywhere you look out on the short course. I hear horns going. The hot pits are hopping. This is a great race so far. This morning we watched the 4900 Can-Am UTV class with Sean Hess unofficially top of the box. Right now, Casey Gilbert way out front, starting to pull away a little bit. I see Dwayne Garrettson and his Jimmy's chassis cruise on through. So we could see Casey Gilbert come through again in the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll see. So lap traffic, I assume, is already going to start playing a factor because he is absolutely flying out there if he gets into the infield when the stock class starts coming through. The 4561. Cody St. Clair cruising through the Holley EFI infield. There's Dwayne Garrettson on screen as we speak.
Couple of fun facts for you. Cody Sinclair, I was talking to him the other day, and his family tells me he's been racing since he was 4 years old. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, he came out to Ultra 4, I think, last year, maybe 2 years ago, and he does really well out here. And then, Dwayne Garrettson right behind him. Now, Dwayne, people have been asking him, just like they've been asking Casey, did Casey tell you yesterday he's actually going to get in that 4400 class today too? Did he say he might be doing that?
He said he might do that in maybe Kentucky, and he was undecided if he was going to do it today.
Maybe Kentucky, because people are asking him that. So with this Legends class, two things happen. You either have guys that love to race, want to continue to race, but just don't want to be spending insane amounts of money to be in that unlimited 4400 class.
And speaking about double duty, saw Lauren Healy race the UTV this morning, and then he'll be in the big class today. So racing's racing.
That is correct. But the flip side also happens. We also have guys that start in Legends, guys like Casey Gilbert, and Vaughn Gittin, because quite frankly, they're both being looked at with, when are you guys going to step it up? Come on, bring your A game. We know you're ready. Come play with the big boys. I have heard I've seen Lauren Healy giving Casey grief online of, all right, you're killing it in that class. Come play with us now.
And Casey Gilbert and Vaughn Gittin Jr. are just proving time and time again how fast they are. I had a great conversation with Vaughn Gittin yesterday about what's he going to do next year, and he was a little standoffish, but it sounds like he's probably going to step up next year. It'll be fun to watch. But Casey Gilbert in that Miller Motorsports chassis out front, that guy can drive. Looks like Cody St. Clair stopped in the infield. He's out of the car, not sure what's going on. Looks like he's trying to get the hood off. And he just came through looking really good, so tough break for him. Hopefully get it figured out and back on course. There's John Grounds, sponsored by Daystar and his Jeep. Part of the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. Right behind him is the 4517 of Jesse Oliver. So they're in the same class racing hard. And they started right next to each other, so on corrected time, Jesse Oliver's technically in front of him, even though physically he's behind him. Remember, they did start 30-second intervals. It will be on corrected time when they cross the finish line.
We are getting some updates from timing and scoring here. So that was just Jesse Oliver and John Grounds that came through. So, yeah, you said that on corrected time he was ahead of him. John Grounds has a total time of 22:39, and Jesse Oliver has a 22:12 based on that.
So on corrected time, he is in front. We got a race on our hands. It will be a race all the way to the finish. So the 4695 Dawson Allington should be our first stock class coming into the short course. He was our KMC hard charger in the Pro Comp stock class. Sounds like Cody St. Clair has a power steering belt that popped up, so they're trying to get it changed. Because he was looking smooth, but got to get that belt back on there to get power steering to keep on going. Hopefully it's a quick fix. Hopefully the belt just popped up, but you never know. You got to check your pulleys. See what's going on. We are hot and heavy. Right in the middle of the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbars, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. We've got 3 classes racing all at the same time. We have the Pro Comp Stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, and the 4800 G2 Legends, all racing at the same time. I see another stock class guy coming in. 2 of them, 2 Cherokees back to back.
2 of them, 2 Cherokees back to back.
Here, one of the rigs out there not hitting on all cylinders. Hopefully he can make it to the hot pits. Dawson Allington heading out for Lope B. He's physically in first in the 4600 Pro Comp stock class. Car's looking smooth, looking fast, and in a stock rig, he's already passed a lot of people. So I see the 4820. This would be Randall Holmes. Coming through the Holley EFI short course. And I hear Dawson Allington with his horn on. He's in a stock class getting ready to pass a limited car. That's pretty cool to see. He's really pushing the limits. So that's who you see on screen, Dawson Allington. Looking for the pass. Looks like pulling wide. Is he going to make it stick? He's going inside, outside. There's side-by-side racing. Remember, this is open wheel racing. We've seen it time and time again. If 2 guys touch tires, one guy could go over. So great pass for Dawson. Another stock guy, the 4671, that should be Sean Gill, followed by the 4693, Josh Atterbury. So on corrected time, Atterbury's in front of Gill. So 1, 2, 3, Allington, Gill, Atterbury. But technically it's Allington, Atterbury, Gill on corrected time. There is so much going on. We have 3 different races going on at the same time. Shannon, you've been busy over there. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we do have a lot happening out here. And part of this racing is it is endurance racing, right? So there are some guys that are going to hit some hard luck out there. We just heard that 866 Sean Reischke, who has been doing well with us these last 2 seasons, just had to call it out. They're done. He didn't exactly say what's going on there, but for those looking for him, and we're going to see more of that. All Ultra 4 races are races of attrition. Not everybody will finish. Not everybody gets a trophy at an Ultra 4 event. That's how this goes. Yep.
We saw that in the UTV class this morning. I mean, one of our top drivers, Lauren Healy, came through after just Loop A, missing his right rear. I see another Cherokee coming through the Holley EFI short course. I believe that was Brian Barron. I still have visual on Cody St. Clair, still working on his car out there. The hood's off, trying to get that belt sorted out. He cannot have outside assistance until he gets to the hot pits, so he's on his own right there, even though he can see it. He has to fix it himself to get to the hot pits. Through the PCI radio, just heard Jonathan Terhune had to call it. He's out of the race. And just like Shannon said, Sean Reischke is out. So attrition's starting to set in. We've seen multiple flat tires. And I expect to see Casey Gilbert and Vaughn Gittin Jr., Cade Rod, all those fast guys. They should be coming through on their B loop anytime. And they'll have one more full lap, A and B, to go. 4849 also out. That's Michael Kiesling. The 4696, Sean McNamara, part of the Pro Comp stock class. So he's made his way up through the ranks. Thank you, everybody back home here in the States, across the pond, wherever you're at. Ultra4racing.com/live. Tune into the King of the Hammers Facebook. We'll be with you all day long with some racing action. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist, alongside Shannon Welch, bringing you the best information we can. We aren't perfect, but we try our hardest. So thank you for sticking with us. Yesterday was the KMC qualifying run. We had a great day, lots of action. But today is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma, at the Crossbar Ranch. There's roughly 6,000 acres of trails out here. It's a great place. If you're anywhere in the area, come check it out. It's a cool, cool park. And the weather is absolutely perfect today. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing. It's extremely dusty, so without that wind, it would almost be miserable. So hopefully that sticks with us for the rest of the day. I didn't make it to this race last year, but just keeping up on the Facebook and all that jazz from last year, it was a mess. lots of rain. They had tornadoes, so we're having a good weekend all in all. So on screen is Sean McNamara. There's another cool drone shot. We've got 2 separate drones flying today. How cool is that? The Hammer Keen production crew has really stepped their game up. They're a class act. There's so much behind the scenes stuff that goes on. I'm pretty technology simple, and just walk in their trailers, see all the stuff they're doing. They bring their own internet out to this park to put this live show on for you guys. Well, Shannon, you've been busy on your computer getting everything lined out. What do you got for us?
Well, we are waiting to see our leaders come back through and finish this next lap they've got going on. But after the first Loop A, we've got Casey Gilbert in the lead for the 4800, followed by Cade Rod and David Hartman. And the 4500 class, Vaughn Gittin out front. Him and Cade, different classes, but 1 second off of each other as they came through. Cade got out in front. That's the race I think we're watching right now when it comes to the up front guys. But Vaughn Gittin Jr. in that lead position as of their last time through, followed by Matt Howell and then Jimmy Jack. And that's been an East versus West all season long between Matt Howell and Jimmy Jack for sure.
Matt Howell put a cool pass on Brad Lovell in the infield, so he's really pushing hard trying to catch up to Vaughn Gittin.
Absolutely. And, you know, Matt and those 48s, 45s is one race, and then the 45s and the 48s within their race or within their class is also another race. It's fun. That's something new we're doing this year. Let's talk about that a little bit. So we used to do class races with class, right? But the 45s and 48s are very different vehicles, but our top guys are very, very competitive within there. I love seeing the 45s and 48s mixed together like that.
I mean, that's what we're here to see, is some racing. So mixing up the 45s and 48s, it all goes off their KMC qualifying run, so they get to earn their spot up front for that clean air. So fair's fair, I believe.
Absolutely. So that's our top 3 there. So we've got Vaughn, Matt, and Jimmy Jack in the 4500s. And in the 4600s, we've got that Allington, and then on corrected time, Atterbury, and then Gill is what I have for 1, 2, 3 right now in the 4600 class. One thing about that Sean Gill is actually letting John Snell drive that car today. He's the substitute driver. Those guys have built that car together. And let's talk about the substitute driver thing. We allow once a season for drivers to have a substitute driver in their car. Maybe it's Father's Day and they have to be somewhere else, or injury at home, or their daughter's getting married, things like that. Yeah, I mean,
and most of these guys,
and
most of these guys actually work too. So sometimes work gets in the way.
Correct.
Life's busy, so it's cool to let them have a substitute driver.
Most of our drivers are not professional drivers. I hear that a lot. Oh, how do I have the money that these guys have? These guys, most of them own their own businesses, work their tails off all week long, come home, work with their friends and family in their shops to get these cars ready, and then they come out and this is their hobby, this is their fun.
And we saw Jimmy Jack on screen just moments ago, heading up with the rock ledge. And I did see a driver coming out of the woods heading towards hot pits. So the only outside assistance you can get is from the hot pits, but a driver or co-driver can run back to hot pits, get tools, parts, whatever, and run back to their car and self-recover themselves. So a lot of these guys just want to finish this race. And the attrition's already starting to set in. We've got, I think, 3 people already confirmed out. We see Cody St. Clair still working on his car in the infield by himself. These guys just really want to get to the finish line. They spend all their time, effort, and money to get here. They want to finish this race. So that's a great view of our rock section out there. So on site, Ramsey Winch is here. They're doing a giveaway. So go over to their tent. They're over by between Maxis and the Velour Oil. They're doing a raffle right around 3 o'clock to give away some swag. So go over and sign up at the Ramsey Winch tent. I do see Albert Contreras coming through. Still moving good. And there comes Casey Gilbert into the short course, our physical leader, finishing his first whole lap. The car still looks great. Casey Gilbert still hot on the gas, hitting the Pro Comp tabletop. So we'll see how far back either Cade Rod or Vaughn Gittin Jr., Matt Howe, Brad Lovell. We still got a lot of fast guys out there. So we've been racing for roughly 50 minutes, and Casey Gilbert's completing his first entire lap. So there's going to be a long day of racing. Casey Gilbert driving that Miller Motorsports chassis. On screen, another great drone shot. Pretty cool to see. In the short course, I see Rob Matsell really limping along, trying to get to the hot pits to get his car back to going. I had a great conversation with him. He raced he had a cool story he told me last night. He raced the Baja 500 on a whim back in 2000, and it fell in love with off-road and has been racing ever since. He raced a lot of mud bogs in Florida and whatnot. So he's limping in. Great to see him out there battling. Hopefully he can get fixed up and back in action. Casey Gilbert officially finishing his first lap. Casey Gilbert, our physical leader. That Miller Motorsports chassis really looking good. He is still all over the throttle. So he has left the short course. We still have not seen physical second place. So Casey Gilbert starting to get a commanding lead. So I see Albert Contreras finishing Loop A. He's got a left front flat, so he's heading into the hot pits. He took a pretty good tumble at the Stampede, had to completely rebuild that thing. He had to get a new frame, get it all swapped over, fix a door. He worked on for a month straight, night and day with the Jeep Thrills off-road shop. So great to see him out here still pushing, hopefully get that tire fixed and back on course. So physical second place, Cade Rod, team's Jimmy 4x4, coming into the Holley EFI short course. So physical second on corrected time, still should be in second place in the 4800 G2 Legends class. On screen is Cade Rod, still pushing hard, trying to chase down Casey Gilbert. Remember, they did leave in 30-second increments, so it will be on corrected time. Casey Gilbert started 1 minute behind. Sorry, Cade Rod started 1 minute behind Casey Gilbert. So Casey's got him on time also. We'll see if Cade can reel him in. He was a fun one to watch at the Stampede. He kind of double duty. He filled in for Shane Chiddix. Drove really well in the unlimited class. The Jimmy's 4x4 team's out in full effect today. At the crossbar, we're just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. We're right in the middle of the limited class races. We got the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, and the 4800 G2 Legends class. On screen's Cade Rod, physical second place. Completed his first lap. He's heading to the hot pits. Casey Gilbert did not. So Cade Rod coming into the pits. We'll see what kind of, how that plays out. Rob Matzell limping into the pits. Looks like he's got a right front flat. Not sure what's going on with Cade. Hopefully we see that. There's a great shot of our rock section. Shows you how difficult these guys have to go. They have to rock crawl mountains. They have to haul through the open section. Shows you how versatile these cars really, really are. And that's like 10 miles back in the woods. We're bringing you a live camera. He does blow by the hot pits. And that's where, as a driver, you really have to keep yourself in check. So you know he's trying to chase down teammate Cade Rod, but technically he's in first place in class, so he needs to not let that get to his head, which he's a pro, so he should be able to be good. But Vaughn Gittin Jr. pushing those Nitto tires to the limits. Here comes Brad Lovell, the 232 AMSOIL machine, into the Holley EFI short course. It sounds like 5 minutes is separating our top three. So Casey Gilbert is 5 minutes ahead of Cade Rod, and then Cade Rod's 5 minutes ahead of Vaughn Gittin Jr. So it'll be interesting how this plays out on corrected time, but these guys are really driving a great race. We do have 3 on the last B loop. There's still a lot of race cars out on course. Still a lot of race cars that are already out of the race. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in here on site and back at home. Ultra4racing.com/live. Tune into the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit that share button. Get on Instagram. Do all the hashtagging. Be sure to tell a friend, phone a friend, text a friend. We've got people all over the country, all over the world watching today. We have our Ultra 4 family over in Europe watching. Lots of them are tuned in. Great to see those guys paying attention. They're all getting ready for King of Britain next week, so they're probably in their garage right now working on their car on a beautiful Saturday, you know, listening to myself and Shannon getting everything dialed in. John Grounds coming out of the pits right behind Brad Lovell. Lots of action out here today. So Cody St. Clair is back in action. He had an idler pulley lock up on him. So he put the belt back on, made it about 15 feet, popped right back off, figured out what the issue was, ran to the pits, borrowed an idler pulley from a fellow racer, and is back on course. So now they're not going to win this race, they're going to finish this race. They still have about an hour and a half of racing to go, so hopefully Cody can keep it together and finish this thing. Another great shot from our live drone. This is a great park out here. We're lucky to be racing the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbars just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. This is the Crossbar Ranch. It's an off-road park, 6,000 acres of trails out here. So if you're around, please come out and check it out. And Roxy's on site. She's right in front of the Nitto Hall right now, holding up an event t-shirt. 1 for 25 or 2 for 40. So definitely get those before they run out. So if you're close to me, she's holding up an event t-shirt. Check it out. Take one home. Be a great Father's Day present. And Yukon Gear and Axles on site. They're going to be giving away some swag. So go over to their tent, check out, see what they got, get a raffle ticket. They'll be giving away some swag here shortly. So go check out the Yukon tent. Ramsey Winches over in that area also giving away a win. So make sure to get a raffle ticket from there also. They'll be giving it away. I see Jimmy Jack and Matt Howell still battling out in the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. Jimmy Jack still just in front of him, but on corrected time, he's a few minutes ahead of him, even though they're neck and neck on course. Jimmy Jack, Matt Howell racing it all the way to the finish. I'm huge fans of both of those guys. They're great members to our sport. They help out every chance they get. Matt Howell's part of the Tribe team. They put on the team dinner last night. They had some great food, so thanks to Adam Shear and Matt Howell, Tribe 16. In the short course, Jimmy Jack goes for a pass. Gets around Shane Smith in that old spec car. Matt Howell actually has to check up because it's so dusty in this infield. A great shot from our drone. I believe that's Matt Howell. Still chasing down Jimmy Jack. Thank goodness for all this wind we have, because the dust is thick. If it wasn't blowing, it'd be absolutely terrible for those guys. It's starting to warm up a little bit, but it's an absolutely beautiful day out here to be racing. There went Jimmy Jack right in front of me. We got a race on our hands. Matt Howell is all over the back of Shane Smith trying to get around. Left, right, inside, outside, all over the throttle. It's so dusty I can't tell if he got the pass or not. Looks like Matt Howell was able to get around Shane Smith, so now he's going to be chasing down Jimmy Jack again. So I believe the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class should be first Vaughn Gittin Jr., second Jimmy Jack, and third Matt Howell. On the other side of things, Casey Gilbert still way out front physically in the 4800 G2 Legends class. Behind him, Cade Rod, and it could be maybe Brad Lovell in third. I'm not quite sure. We've seen some great passes in the Holley EFI short course. Lots of action going on today. It just proves again and again how hard these guys push the limits in these cars. It's really cool to see how far this sport has came in the last 12 years. It first started out with 12 guys out in Johnson Valley racing up some hammer trails for bragging rights and a case of beer. And now it's all this. We have over 145 registered racers. We have around 800 that have raced with us all together. David Hartman coming through. Jimmy's 4x4. Nitto driver. This is an East meets West race, so thank you to 4 Wheel Parts for being the Eastern Series sponsor, and Laser Nut for being the Western Series sponsor. Also, Laser Nut has stepped up and made the trophies for every race this year. Those things are incredibly cool. So if you get a chance, come and check it out during the awards. So we could see Casey Gilbert the next 10 or so minutes to win this thing. We'll see if we keep the car together and bring on the win home. He was our KMC hard charger and has been out front all day long, but I'm sure he's seen some lap traffic out there, and it apparently hasn't caused him too many issues. So on screen is David Hartman in that Jimmy's Chassis Nitto tire machine. On screen now is Jody Ford, Team Brannick Motorsports. I believe Brandon Haynes is riding shotgun in that rig today. And having a co-driver is excellent in a race like this because there's been a lot of tire issues. If you're by yourself, you have to change it by yourself. Navigation, there's lefts and right. If you're trying to watch the course, pick your line, and watch your GPS, it can be a lot going on all at once and kind of take you out of your game just a tick. But some of the fastest guys are in the single seats. We'll see how that plays on later on today. And again, I'm Miles Hasselquist alongside birthday girl Shannon Welch. We'll be with you all day long. There's a great shot of our rock section with one of our 4600 Pro Comp stock Cherokees going up. Shows you how diverse these. You still have some time if you're in the Oklahoma City or Dallas, Texas area. We'll kick off the 4400 Unlimited guys right around 1 o'clock, so please come out and be a great Father's Day present. Grab a t-shirt. Daddy's is on site. Don't worry about packing a cooler, but you can. So far, the race has gone extremely smooth. We had the 4900 Can-Am UTV race this morning with very few hiccups. The Hammer King safety crew has been working their tail off, getting everything running smooth, recovering cars, making everything's going okay. We are right in the middle of the limited class races, the 4600 Pro Comp stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class, and the 4800 G2 Legends class on course as we speak. And I think we're just minutes away from seeing KC Gilbert walk away with this thing. We'll see if he can hold it together. He has not seen the hot pits yet. Those Nitto tires have kept up all race long for him. The 4800 G2 Legends class, KC Gilbert out front. So we do need to give some love to our sponsors once again. 4 Wheel Parts for being our Eastern Series sponsor. Laser Nut for being our Western Series sponsor. Nitto's hopped on board once again. We have Can-Am, Holley EFI, RCV, Monster Energy, Renegade Race Fuel, Savvy, Warn, Yukon, Genrite, Griffin Radiator, Amada, Amsoil, HCR, Jim, Jeep. Just to name a few. So thanks for keeping everybody online with us. Without those guys, we would not be able to make this thing possible. So a huge shout out to some of our sponsors. Please help support who supports us. Roxy still has a few of the event t-shirts, so be sure to swing by the Ultra 4 booth over there. They got Ultra 4 swag, Ultra 4 hats, and event t-shirts. 1 for $25, 2 for $40. That's a great view to show you how dusty it is back in the trails as well. Thanks again, everybody, for staying tuned in with us all day long. Ultra4racing.com/live. Tune into our King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit the share button. Get on the Instagrams and use all the hashtags. Shannon's been busy on the computer, keeping on with race ops, doing her thing, multitasking at its best. Shannon, you've had a busy day. What's been going on?
We've got a couple of exciting things over here. One of the coolest things, as I was running the numbers, I wanted to double check before I said this, but Shane Smith might be the story of the morning right now, which is not somebody we've been talking much about, but that 223 car, because he started much later, actually is sitting in third. We knew Casey's out front in the 4800 class. Then we've got Cade Rod behind him. There's actually about 4 minutes 50 seconds between them, and then there's about 4 minutes between Cade and Shane Smith. Now Brad Lovell, who came in before him, but he started before him. So 232, there's 48 seconds between Shane Smith and Brad Lovell. So the race right now is for that third position in the 4800.
That's pretty cool. And Shane Smith's driving Bailey Cole's old spec car, so that thing's been around. It's cool. And I think you know a little bit more behind that story, don't you?
I do. I tried to do that yesterday, and everything kept going wrong on that. So the spec cars are something we did a few years ago. Those were cars, they were all built to be identical, and that particular one got to go race in Europe. So that one saw a whole season in the US and then a whole season in Europe. And it was literally put on a shipping container, as was nothing touched after a muddy European season. And it was kind of sitting in the stockpile, if you will. But Shane Smith, he had some issues in Stampede, and he was without a car. He called Dave up and said, do you have anything laying around, just anything? And Dave's like, if you want to clean it up, if you want to run it, you can bring it back out and run it if you want to for the season, Bubba. You know, the Bubba was added because it's Dave Cole. Everybody knows this, right? So this happened, and Dave's sitting there going, I can't believe that car's out there running. But I'm actually being called on my PCI radio by Dave Cole, so I'm going to hand it back to you, Miles.
Well, thanks again, once again, Shannon, for keeping us updated. It's been a lot of fun. I saw, like we were talking about that spec car, Bailey Cole raced it, Derek West raced it over there. It's been around. It's pretty cool. So thanks again, everybody, for staying tuned in. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma, on the Crossbar Off-Road Park. There's roughly 6,000 acres to go play around on. So we could see our leader, Casey Gilbert, coming through anytime, as long as he had his smooth loop B. We're going to try to keep to schedule. 4,400 should be kicking off right around 1 p.m. I see the 46-48. That's Brian Barron coming through the Holley EFI short course, being chased down by the 45-17 of Jesse Oliver. They're in two separate classes. Remember, we are running 3 classes all at once: the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, and the 4800 G2 Legends class. So lots of racing action. Lots of details behind the scenes. So as Shannon just touched base earlier, Casey Gilbert and Cade Rod are kind of walking away with first and second place, but Brad Lovell and Shane Smith are battling for that third podium position on corrected time. It'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. Shane Smith started roughly 6 minutes behind Brad Lovell. So corrected time is going to be interesting all the way down to the finish line. Remember, this is a corrected time race. They started in 30-second intervals. And there are 3 classes racing all at the same time, so there's a lot going on. We're doing our best to keep the information as close as we can, but there again, everything I do say is unofficial. West Coast points race. So again, thanks to Laser Nut for being our Western Series sponsor and 4 Wheel Parts for being our Eastern sponsor for the series. Netto Tires on site. Renegade Race Fuels here. We have Amada, Amsoil, Axle, Best Top, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School, G2, Genrite, Griffin Radiator, HCR, Holley EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, Laser Nut, MBRP, Method, Monster, Nitto, Optima, PCI, ProComp, RCV, Renegade Race Fuel, Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smittybill, Spider Track, Squatch Box, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Warren, and Yukon. So thank you to all our sponsors to make this possible. Please support who supports us. Without those guys, we would not be racing today. Next month, our race will be in Bedford, Kentucky for the KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass, followed by the next Western Series race will be the Ridgecrest, California Desert Race. That'll be a fun one. It's a new to our series. And we just heard that yesterday, I believe it's May 18th of 2019, we'll be racing in San Felipe, Mexico next year. That's very exciting. I'm excited to get down there. That's a great drone shot to see how big this park is. This is a great place. I'm glad to be here. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar Off-Road Park, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. John still on course. I'm still expecting Casey Gilbert to be popping through any moment. He should be our first winner. So just walking through the pits, I got Eric Miller. I have yet to bump into you. You've been a busy guy out here. You qualified well yesterday. I really expect you to do good today. What's on your mind right now?
Yeah, it's crazy at the top. 2 through 7 were like 0.8 of a second apart, all running 2:03. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we qualified where we want to be, near up front. We had a long night helping Josh. His guys put his car all back together.
Yeah, he took a pretty good tumble, and that guy's usually Mr. Conservative, and he rolled that thing twice in qualifying. But your Miller chassis held up strong. Speaking about Miller chassis, Casey Gilbert's still out front. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, Aiden and I came over, his son here, to watch him come across the line. Hopefully all's well with those guys and they can pull it out again.
Well, good job, Eric Miller. I'm expecting you to be up front today. I hope you have a clean, smooth, fun race, and great seeing you out here. Thanks again.
Thanks, Miles. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric. I will be. Oh, that actually sounds great. Thank you. So coming into the short course could be Cade Rod. So we might be missing Casey Gilbert right now, but if my eyes are right, that is Cade Rod, our physical first place into the Holley EFI short course. Cade Rod did come into the hot pits once, so had a little bit of issues, but fought through it, and Cade Rod could be our unofficial first place finisher for today's 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar. So that's interesting. Casey Gilbert had a solid run all day long, but Cade Rod, it looks like, got around him some point out on the racetrack. So in the Holley EFI short course, I do see Cade Rod. We still have not seen Casey Gilbert. Vaughn Gittin Jr. could be coming anytime. Remember, there was about 5 minutes splitting the difference, so something happened to Casey out on the course. Had a smooth first lap and a half, and something bit him out there. So tough break for Casey, but great to see Cade Rod out front. Team Jimmy's 4x4. Nitto Tired sponsored machine. And getting a little bit of tidbit through my PCI radio. Eric Miller helped me out. It sounded like Casey Gilbert had 2 tire issues, changed one. But there is Cade Rod, our unofficial first finisher in the 4800 G2 Legends class. Randy Rod's all smiles, giving him the congratulations out there. So Cade Rod, our unofficial first place finisher, followed closely by Casey Gilbert. He's limping in. So they are both in the 4800 G2 Legends class. Casey had a smooth day going, but caught 2 tires out there on that last tight wood section loop. So tough break for Casey. He had a commanding lead all day long. He was our KMC hard charger guy, but Cade Rod snuck around him. So huge shout out to Cade. Again, everything is unofficial.
You know, I want to talk about that though, because I've mentioned this in Shamokin with him. So Cade is the one that showed up at Shamokin after King of the Hammers with this very, very white wristband on. And we were like, Cade, what is this white wristband you're wearing? And he said, this is my competitor band from King of the Hammers. And we said, why are you still wearing your competitor band from King of the Hammers? He said, because I didn't win, and I want it to remind me that I want to win. And I don't know if he's still wearing it, but he finally gets to take it off if he is still wearing it. He did get a win unofficially, obviously. We're trying to find out what's going on with Casey Gilbert out there, and there's always stories. This is racing. So, you know, we need to see what's happening with the rest of our leaders. But I love that story. And Cade, if you're still wearing that wristband, today might be the day you get to cut it off.
Talk about determination. Cade Rod really drove his heart out today. The whole Jimmy's Army's out here. Great to see them. Casey Gilbert still moving, but he's limping along on some flat tires. There's still a lot of race cars out on course. It's been a busy but fun day. So Casey Gilbert gets the checkered flag, unofficially second place. Great, great day for him. Coming in on a left front flat tire, so tough break, but Casey Gilbert makes it to the finish line. Just a few minutes behind Cade Rod. We got Eric Miller and Cameron Gilbert walking by. They're heading down to check on Casey Gilbert, giving me the thumbs up. They're still excited about the situation because unofficially second on the podium. There's a lot of race cars still out on course. We're going to let them race till roughly 12:30. So we've got about another hour to let some of these guys try to finish their race. We're still waiting for Vaughn Gittin or Matt Howe. Jimmy Jacks out up front for the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. And right around 1 p.m., we're going to send out the 4400 Unlimited Big Boys out on course. It'll be a lot of fun to watch, so make sure to stay tuned in all day long. Ultra4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook page, hit the share button. Get on the Instagram, hit all the hashtags. Let's get this thing going. So walking right in front of me, I got Josh Blyler. You had a pretty interesting day yesterday. I always call you Mr. Smooth, Mr. Consistent. You went out there and rolled your car 2 separate times, worked on it all night. What happened out there?
So we left the line. And we were having some transmission problems on the pre-run, and thought we could get it through this race. We left the line on qualifying. As soon as I went for second gear, it was gone, and I just flustered myself and forgot how to drive.
I mean, when you came over this first jump right in front of me, you went on the sides, landed on your nose, upside down, back on the wheels, blipped the throttle, good to go, got behind the Nitto Holler for me, and I see the crowd jump up, back upside down. But hey, you and Levi Shirley are going to be starting from the back of the pack. It is on corrected time, so you're going to have a lot of lap traffic, but that's going to make for an interesting race with you two fast guys coming from the back.
Yeah, we're excited. Levi and I talked a little bit, and we're going to work our way up through and do our very best. And the dust is going to be a big player, and I think the flat tires are going to be a big player, and we'll we'll see how it is at the end of the day.
Well, I didn't see you last night, but I went by the pit and saw the car. The Miller Motorsports chassis held up very well to your driving yesterday, didn't it?
Absolutely. We have no frame damage. Just knocked some parts on the front axle housing, and we had a whole spare housing in the trailer and a spare tranny, and a bunch of guys chipped in. Thanks to everybody that helped, and we got her back together.
And you guys have actually teamed up with Miller because Big B Motorsports, that you guys build the chassis in-house at your place now, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's all Miller stuff. We're just building his parts, but it's been a great partnership. I think it's been working out very well, and we're excited to keep it going.
All right, well, I can't wait to watch you later, Josh. I appreciate it, buddy. Always a good time to see you.
Yep, you too, Miles. Thanks.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Hey, Miles, did you see who I see?
So unofficially first place, Cade Rod's up here. So how was it out there? So you were chasing down Casey Gilbert all day long, and finally what happened? It looked like he had some tire issues. Where'd you get around him?
Yeah, we were running a conservative race trying to keep all the tires on the car. We knew there was a lot of tire getters out there. So we came around the corner, and we knew he had 4 minutes on us or so, and we came around the corner, and he was putting his steering wheel on, and I just knew it was on. But I passed him. I took the wrong line on the left, and he just rock bounced through the trees, threw some rocks past me again, and then I was right on his dust for a couple miles, and he got another tire, and then it was just right there.
Now that's an awesome race, isn't it, Shannon?
Yeah, it is an awesome race. You know what I want to ask him. I want to ask, can I see your wrist? Do we get to cut them off now?
So Shannon brought this story up earlier. You've been wearing that wristband ever since King of the Hammers, so you see every day how hard you want to work for this win, and you finally get it.
Actually, since it was a bad day and such a small thing took us out of the race, I kept the Hammers one, and I was going to continue to keep every driver band from every race I went to until I won one. So there's 4 on here from NorCal, Pennsylvania, Hammers, and here. So I finally get to cut them off, and so it's awesome. I even brought a pair of dikes with me to cut them.
Are we going to do this live for everybody? You guys, he is cutting off his bands as we speak because he wanted a reminder that he needed to win, and he got to win today. Can we give it up for Cade Rod up here? Thank you.
Well, congratulations, buddy. You drove the wheels off that thing. I did see in the pits earlier. What happened there? I saw the hood come off. You guys weren't in there very long. The whole Jimmy's Army crew hopped in, got you back out. What happened there?
Well, we initially came in for gas. We have a really small tank. It's only 22 gallons, so we were going to have to pit for fuel as most wouldn't. Whenever we came in, though, my steering wheel was locking up in B on the second loop. Both laps, my steering wheel kept locking up, so we were pouring power steering fluid out, so we just had to add a little fluid and then keep going.
Well, just over my shoulder, I saw Vaughn Gittin Jr., one of your teammates, coming through, so he should unofficially be on top of the box for the 4500 Rubicon Express class. That's pretty cool to see for Jimmy's and Nitto up front.
Yeah, it is, and I really have to thank my friends, my family, my sponsors, KMC, Nitto, Jimmy's 4x4, MBRP, Warren, everybody that comes together to really put this together.
Well, congratulations, Cade. Last time you raced at the Stampede, you were able to kind of double duty driving the 4400 class and the Legends class. You're really stepping up and you're getting in your own shoes. Congratulations for driving as well as you have been.
Thank you.
All right, well, Cade Rod, unofficially first place. Great job, buddy. So we see Brad Lovell in the infield as well. So Shane Smith also somewhere.
See who I see?
Casey Gilbert, come on up here, buddy. So you were the KMC hard charger. You were in the lead until that second B loop on that last little lap, and it looks like you had some tire issues. You were out front, tough break. How'd it go out there for you today?
Really fun course, real high speed A loop, and then the B loop, it's really, really rocky, and we knew we had to conserve tires, and about halfway through the B loop on the second lap, I hooked a rock and flatted a front tire, so we tried to drive on as far as we could, and we couldn't turn, so we stopped and changed it, and Cade got around us.
And he just told us that story, and he said you went a little different line and just bounced, got him right back. That was some racing. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, he kind of took the long way around the corner, and I went through the woods and snagged another tree. It's just total driver error, and I shouldn't have done it, but we were pushing hard. We really wanted to win.
Well, you had a great lead out there. It was fun to watch. At least, hopefully, unofficially, you're still on the podium. You've had a great run. The Miller Motorsports chassis really held up for you, and a solid run for you, Casey.
Thank you.
And we just see Brad Level pull through, so we're starting to get some cars. So physically finishing, we had number 1, Cade Rod. Number 2, Casey Gilbert. 3 come in was Vaughn Gittin Jr. 4 coming on was Brad Lovell. So remember, this is all on corrected time. They are in different classes as well, so we'll try to get everything sorted out. So in my head, it is Cade Rod, Casey Gilbert, Brad Lovell physically finishing. But remember, Shane Smith could be coming in anytime also, and there's I think about a 5 or 6 minute spread on those guys, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes up. But it's a lot of fun with this corrected time racing because the KMC qualifier is so important. But race day, race your heart out. You can come from the back. I remember it was, I believe, 2 years ago at the Battle in the Bluegrass in Kentucky. Eric Miller started dead last and Battle is all the way to the front, and won it that day. So just because you had a bad day qualifying doesn't mean you can't push and win this thing. So it's great to see all these guys racing all the way to the finish. And Shannon, you've been plugging away over on your computer. Do you have some information for us, hopefully?
Yeah, 3 classes, all sorts of different laps. We've got a lot going on out there. But what I can tell you is unofficial times right now, Cade Rod, as we know, with that one, he's got a 1:46.50 for total time, followed by Casey Gilbert with a 1:50.42. And then Brad Lovell right now with that 1:56.33. But there was that 5-minute difference there, and there was less than 40 seconds separating them. We're not quite there yet. We've got a few minutes to see if Shane Smith might be able to sneak into that 3rd position or not. And then the only 4,500 through so far is Vaughn Gittin Jr. So you know who I'm excited to see. I'm excited for the Matt Howell Jimmy Jack.
Speaking about Jimmy Jack, he's in the Holley EFI short course, still looking smooth, looking fast. Fiance Amy riding shotgun. Jimmy Jack's in the short course. So he could be our unofficial 2nd place finisher in the Rubicon Express modified class. All 4 Nitto tires still holding strong. Jimmy Jack looking good.
Apparently cutting your hair and getting engaged makes you a faster racer. I didn't know that was a thing, but it seems to be. I know the ladies are missing his luxurious locks, but we do still have a battle for the best hair going on between Jimmy Jack and Matt Howell, on top of who's coming in 2nd and 3rd today.
Matt Howell hopefully will be coming in here anytime.
Do you think we can convince Vaughn to, is there a hair thing there too? Those are our 3 guys this season. And they're all, I know the ladies like to follow them. I see all sorts of blushing over those 3. But I'm not sure Vaughn's really in the hair game the way they are. But I guess when you've got the followers and the drifting and monster behind you, you don't really need the hair as much.
They've been a fun group to watch for sure.
You've got no comment on their hair. I understand. But the ladies are listening to me. I see them. They're like, really? Do I need to check out their hair? You do. You need to check out their hair. It's really... In fact, last year at Nationals, here's a funny story while we're waiting for the next one to come in. They were tied for, I don't remember which class it was, but we do our East, West, and Nationals all at once. And he said, I've got 1 trophy. Whoever gets up here first wins. And then he said, actually, we're going to do it by best hair. And, we had 800 people at our banquet all dying over that one because it is really a hair thing with those guys.
And they battle hard out on the course, but they are buddies in the pits. They help each other every chance they get. Jimmy Jack and Matt Howell, a lot of fun to watch race. Vaughn Gittin Jr. out there unofficially 1st on the box for the 4,500 Rubicon Express modified class. And here comes Jimmy Jack, unofficially 2nd place. Number 63, Nitto Tire sponsored machine with fiance Amy. Unofficially 2nd place. But remember, it is corrected time, so everything I am saying is unofficial. We'll get everything lined out. But great run for Jimmy Jack. He's really stepped up his program this year. He's teamed up with Rick Levezzo, and they got a really cool thing going. I'm sure you've seen his semi that's all painted up just like his race car. They got a cool thing going. The sun is still shining. The wind is still blowing. The dust is still thick. But it's a great day of racing for 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbars. Just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. Looks like Cody St. Clair's coming in. Remember, he had some pulley and belt issues earlier, so great to still see him out trucking along. I was talking to some of his crew earlier, You know, obviously they're not racing for the win, but they're still racing for a finish. This is an East meets West race, so thanks 4 Wheel Parts for being our Eastern Series sponsor, and Laser Nut for being our Western Series sponsor. Laser Nut's also stepped up and are making the trophies for the entire series. So they've stepped up in a huge way this year, so thanks to those guys. Nitto Tire, King Shocks, Monster Energy, Renegade Race Fuel.
I just heard another cool story, Miles. So Casey Shear, who physically finished the UTV race in first place, but he did miss that start finish, so he didn't get that time penalty. You want to talk about, I mean, Team Awesome is his page, and he is an awesome guy. So even after that happened, Dave asked, you know, did he make the podium? And I said, you know, 15 minutes was more than the podium. And he said, all right, he's going to go out there and he's going to sweep the course now for this race. So after coming in, you know, after doing his own race, he's back out on course. Our drivers love to help us with that. I think they'd rather be out on course than sitting here. But knowing that Casey Shear is that kind of a sportsman, you know, it's a bummer that he didn't get that top spot today. But when it comes to a good sportsman today, I think Casey Shear might be getting that award. So kudos to him for going out there and doing that.
That's another cool story that just goes back to, again, the Ultra 4 family's so tight, racers, families, friends, everybody's out to help everybody. Great sportsmanship by Casey Shear. Looks like Cody St. Clair's back in the hot pits, getting everything checked out, making sure that idler pulley's still working. Got a pretty good hub out there. Cade Rod, Casey Gilbert, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Jimmy Jack, Brad Lovell have all finished this race. I see a 46.93. Josh Atterbury. He could be our first pro comp stock class. So it looks like we may have our first car, the 4648. Brian Barron is our first Pro Comp stock class finisher. Top of the box in his Pro Comp sponsored Cherokee. Great to see Brian Barron out here. He's been a really good name in the stock class. So it's pretty cool to see them racing the A-Loop, the B-Loop, and the A-Loop once again, just beating those Jeeps to death out there.
So the Barron family is from Southern California. I know those guys. I spend a lot of time with them in SoCal. Actually, we've got a lot of SoCal guys here, Albert Contreras. But I'm going to tell you something now. The Barrons made me cry this morning. So before they went out and raced, they came over and they gave me a birthday card. Their whole team came over to wish me a happy birthday. So hopefully that gave them some good luck out there. So I really appreciated that. You know, a lot of these teams are like family, but to come over here and wish me a happy birthday in their racing suits before they went out and raced this morning, it made my day. And I love to see the fact that they've come all the way from Southern California. They all have to be back at work on Monday. So they are doing a long haul back, and congratulations to those guys on the first ones through.
That's a pretty cool story there, Shannon. Thanks for the tidbits. I love all your behind-the-scenes knowledge, everything. We team up great. It's a lot of fun. And I just saw coming into the short course, Jade and Kyle Wickham. And their Jimmy's chassis still moving strong. Well, thank you for everybody on site and back at home for staying tuned in all weekend long with us. Again, I'm Miles Hasquist alongside Shannon Welch. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar, just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. We've got a few finishers for the limited classes out here. They're still huddled up, reminiscing, telling race stories. We had the 4900 Can-Am UTV class this morning. The limited class is starting to finish.
While Miles catches his breath, I will catch you up on who has come through so far. We've had Cade Rod, 4807. He came through with a 1 hour, 46 minutes, 50 seconds. Second, same class, that G2 4800 Legends class, is Casey Gilbert with a 1:50:42. That's 1 hour, 50 minutes, 42 seconds. And then 232, Brad Lovell, fresh off of Baja, where he went and raced with his whole family. Both of his kids were down there racing with him at the Baja 500. And he came in third unofficially right now with a 1:56:33. So we have 348s through and 245s. We've got Vaughn Gittin Jr. with a 1:57:44, looking to take that top spot in the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class in Brocky, I should say, the Bronco. And then Jimmy Jack, number 63, with a 1:58:59. All of them finished in under 2 hours. We do not have our third 4500 guy through yet. While we're doing a little bit of recap, waiting for some more of our guys to come through, I can go over some of the UTV stuff that happened earlier today. And Sean Hess was our winner of that class. He was our top spot for that one. Casey Shear did come across first, but he did have a mishap with the start-finish, which did cause him to have a little bit of a time penalty there. And so it was Sean Hess, Cole Clark, and you know what? My screen is not working with me at the moment. But we should have Miles back here in just 1 second. Actually, I believe it was Travis Zollinger is in third as well. My screen's not sorting right, but those names sound familiar. We should be doing an awards ceremony at some point here. Miles is back. I'm going to give it back to you, Miles.
So it sounds like we will be doing, I think we will be doing awards here pretty quick. We'll do the 4900 Can-Am class and all the limited racers before we send out the unlimited guys. And I've got another fun racer right here, Vaughn Gittin Jr. You were the KMC hard charger, and you brought it to the finish line. How was it out there today, man?
It was cool, man. This is a really fun course. You know, big open areas, tight technical, good climbs, some rocks, some mud. So it has everything. So coming here to the short course. And they said I just lost rear drive, and so we ran the whole course in front, but luckily we had rear and low, so we were able to hit the tight sections, climb up the hills, and yeah, awesome. You know, Clint from Jimmy's 4x4 has been raging on this thing, getting it ready since Pennsylvania. You know, it was amazing to see my teammate Cade Rod coming first. He's been going on it. You know, the kid's been wearing wristbands all year until they're all dirty, got a bunch of bacteria and gnarliness on them. So he said he wasn't going to cut them off till he wins. So I'm happy to see him get those things off his arm. And shout out to my best friend and co-driver Eric Davis. He killed it on the notes. Yeah, he was my co-driver in Pennsylvania, and yeah, we're just enjoying it out here. You know, this will be my last year racing 4500. You know, my goal was to come out, learn, and understand the ropes. You know, there's a lot more to learn than driving out here. There's a patience factor, a mental factor, and just knowing when to go and knowing when to slow. And we've learned that pretty well this year. So going to do some work to Brocky next year, and look forward to coming and playing in 4,400.
So we were talking about that a little bit last night, and yeah, it sounds like you are going to step up to the 4,400. That's going to be pretty cool to see. Sounds like you're going to change up the back a little bit and get Brocky back out here and play with the big boys.
Yeah, that's the plan. You know, we're talking a whole new Jimmy's 4x4 chassis, or perhaps you know, just working with Brocky. I mean, we have such a connection, that truck and I, and you know, everything is dialed. So it's always challenging when you do something new. You got Gremlins, which we already fought last year. So you know, we'll see where it goes. A lot of time between now and Nationals and next year, but really pumped for Nationals, and really pumped to watch my man Lauren Healy and the rest of the Ultra 4 guys out here get nuts.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. You lost rear drive. How does that affect you setting up in the corners? Because you're used to only rear wheel drive and drifting, you know, on your what you do for a profession. You're a professional drifter, and so you got that Mustang out there drifting like crazy. Well, now you're in a front wheel drive like a Honda Civic kind of principle. So how do you set up the corners for that?
Yeah, it was it's actually really challenging. You know, you're used to having that rear drive. You kind of flick the truck in and get on throttle and it'll drive it out. Well, now you do that, it wants to push out. So you really got to rotate the truck a lot and get it pointed before you pick on the throttle. So just a changing of driving style, changing of approach and setup for turns. Definitely not as fast coming out of the turns, but very much momentum. So it's more like driving a low horsepower go-kart out there, keeping the momentum, keeping it driving and not blowing the tires off it. So we adapted, we adjusted. You know, of course I want to be out there hammered down, but you know, we come out here and the guys work really hard. We want to get a win for them, and that's what we did. So I'm pumped, and you know, huge thanks to everybody out here at Ultra 4. This off-road community as a whole is just amazing. And for me, you know, growing up, motocross, go-karts, you know, riding side-by-sides, this is me, and I really enjoy it. And thank you very much for my choice of path, because drifting has helped me so much just adapt to this pretty solidly.
Well, you skipped the Stampede with us, but you raced Pennsylvania now here, back-to-back podiums. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. It you know, it takes a team to make it happen out here. This is some serious stuff, and we brought that this weekend. We brought it to Pennsylvania, and the plan is to bring it to Nationals. So yeah, and just quick shout out. I know my lovely wife, my pregnant wife, is at home watching. She didn't come out this weekend, so love you, baby, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks again, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Always a pleasure. Good to see you, my man.
Thanks, brother. Have fun.
Well, the racing action's still going on. It's been a long day. It's been a fun day. The big boys will be taking off right around 1 p.m., but we are going to be doing awards here after this race for the 4,900 Can-Am class and then the 3 limited classes. So please stay tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit the share button. Hit the Instagram with all the hashtags. Let's grow this sport as big as we can. It's came a long ways in 12 years, and it's just going to the top. Looks like we have another one, the 4695 Dawson Allington. He was our KMC hard charger, so he's physically in second place. And he was took off first, so on corrected time, that should Brian Barron still looking pretty good. So it's pretty cool to see 2 stock classes in here. We have 2 4,500 guys in here, and we've got 3 Legends guys. So a lot of cars have finished. Got roughly another half hour of racing. The Hammer King safety crew's out there working hard, making sure everything's okay, running smooth, staying safe. So far, so good. It is an absolute beautiful day. And here comes Albert Contreras, the 4605, should be unofficially in third position. Remember this yet, but some of his fellow racers are giving the splash, giving the high fives, the thumbs up. Great to see Albert hopefully getting on the podium. He's actually racing the entire series. Like I said, he comes from Compton, California, drove all the way to Pennsylvania for our first race. He is extremely dedicated, extremely happy. He's going for the National Series points. Well, it's been a fun-filled action day of racing for the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbar here in Davis, Oklahoma. It's been a fun-filled day of racing. We finished up the 4900 Can-Am UTV class this morning. Starting to wrap up the limited racers, the 4500 Rubicon Express class, the 4800 G2 Legends class, and the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class starting to fill up the podiums. We will hopefully kick off the unlimited racers in about 1 hour. Our next race will be the KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park just outside of Bedford, Kentucky. Following that in August, we'll have the Laser Nut Western Regional Race in Ridgecrest, California. And these are all part of the Ultra 4 Nitto National Championship. In October, we'll be back So on October 20th and 21st, we will be back for the Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship just outside of Reno, Nevada at the Wild West Motorsports Park. I see some dust heading towards the Holley EFI short course. So we should have another rig coming in here very shortly. Looks like that could be, is that John Grounds possibly? Looks like that's the Daystar Jeep of John Grounds heading towards the short course. And now we got a few guys coming out. I do see Matt Howe back there. So they must have got him righted. So it'll be interesting with corrected time, see who's going to round out the podiums. Again, everything as I'm saying is unofficial. We will be doing awards here shortly. It's been a lot of fun today for the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbars. We've almost got 2 races under our belt. Right around 1 o'clock, we'll be kicking off the 4400 Unlimited Big Boys. That's what we all came to watch. That's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure to stay tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. So I do see the 4570 John Grounds. I believe he is a finisher, so he could be sneaking into that third place position. We'll see how the corrected time pans out. Looks like 8100 Mike DeVore also finishing. There's Matt Howe, the 4510 Tribe 16. So this corrected time is going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out. So our Hammer King safety crew is out on course, making sure everything's going smooth, being safe. These guys are working their tails off. So if you see an orange vest, give them a handshake, give them a thanks. They do a lot of stuff out here for us. Quite a few of them are volunteers. We got a pretty tight-knit crew.
All right. Actually, John Grounds did finish, but there was actually somebody who snuck in there before him. And, you know, we're doing our best here with multiple classes, multiple loops, multiple laps. But unofficially, it's looking like 4580 might have snuck in there before him. So on the 4500, I've got Vaughn Gittin Jr., Jimmy Jack, and then 4580 in that order. John Matthews, yes. And then our next 4500 after that being John Grounds. So about a minute separates them, but that's what I'm looking at.
Well, it's always a race all the way to the finish. This corrected time is extremely interesting. keeps us on our toes. There's a lot going on. Matt Howell had a great run going. It sounded like he tipped over back in the woods somewhere, so tough break for him, but a lot of fast racing out there today.
So we had 3 4800s, then 3 4500s, and then it's been like 48, 45, 48, 45. So total finishers so far, and this is overall. I'm gonna do this by overall instead of by class right now, so people get a sense of where people finished here. So Cade Rod first with a 146.50, then Casey Gilbert second with a 150.42. Brad Lovell third with a 156.33. Vaughn Gittin Jr. with a 157.44. Jimmy Jack with a 158.59. Then we have a huge gap there for a while. And then we've got John Matthews with 221.34. Then Mike DeVore, who's a Legends car, with a 222.18. And then John Grounds with a 222.54. And it looks like Matt Howell just came through, but I need to calculate his times.
I saw Matt Howell come through. Sean Rance Sr. just pulled in. So we're starting to get a lot of race cars here on the infield for the Holley EFI short course. So we'll try to get everything lined out for you guys. We're doing our best. Shannon's keeping extremely busy doing her multitasking. Thank you again for everybody sticking with us. Again, I'm Miles Hasquist alongside Shannon Welch. This is the 2018 Holley EFI Clash at the Crossbars just outside of Davis, Oklahoma. So we're starting to get a little bit of a break in the action, so make sure you go back there and see Daddy's Food Vendor. Just get a cold drink and a wrap or a cheeseburger. They've been feeding us all weekend long. They've got some great food. Thanks again, Daddy's, for being here. Go check out Roxy. She's got event t-shirts and Ultra 4 swag. So remember, we had 3 different classes racing at the same time. The 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, the 4800 G2 Legends class, and the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class.
I'm looking at the 4600 class right now, and obviously we knew Brian Barron came across first. And then Dawson Allington, who was our KMC hard charger, I'm actually showing unofficially in second, and Albert Contreras in third is what I've got here. So, so that would be Barron, Allington, and Contreras. Those are the only, actually that's not true. Yeah, for 4600, those are the only 3 I think we've seen complete this race so far, but kudos to them. Really cool to see a couple of our West Coast guys that came all the way to Oklahoma. By the way, our stock guys came to Oklahoma. If you are watching on the West Coast and you were registered and you decided not to come out here, but our stock guys came out here, just think about that for a minute. Why aren't you out here racing? Are you afraid of trees? Because honestly, this weather is perfect for racing, Miles. It's not too hot. There's a nice breeze. And we're not, you know, I tagged this race, the shirts that you can buy say come hell or high water on them. Because if you're just tuning in, this is not the Oklahoma of last year out here. That is for darn sure. We were up to our knees in mud. We could barely get around. We couldn't even get across the creek crossing. It was a fairly new park last year. But these teams came together and we still raced here last year. But this is the type of racing environment we were really hoping to give our teams last year when we came out. We're happy to give it to them today. And I'm just excited to see what's going to happen when we put the big boys out there and girls for the main event, because they've got 3 hard laps to do, and we've already seen how much attrition has happened in this race.
There's a lot of rocks out there. There's a lot of trees. The attrition has definitely set in. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the 4,400 guys really push the limits. So we'll see them come through the short course 6 separate times. And speaking about the Holley EFI short course, it looks like David Hartman coming in. I believe that means he'll be a finisher. I think he's the 4874 David Hartman, part of Team Jimmy's, running the Nitto tires. Thanks again, everybody, for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Hit up the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit that share button. Hit up the Instagram. Use all the hashtags. So Team Jimmy's member, 4874, Nitto sponsored machine, David Hartman. I believe he is a finisher, so great to see him. And that could be Jesse Oliver coming in behind him, can't quite tell. I believe that's going to be Kyle and Jade Wickham coming through. So we have another finisher, Jade and Kyle Wickham, the 4823, and their Jimmy's chassis. So 4820 Randall Holmes coming through. Looks like he's on a right rear flat. So I see the 4864 Bob Wimmer come in. Looks like we just had Randall Holmes and Dustin Sexton come through. as we try to wrap up the limited races, getting everybody cleared out, we'll give the sponsors a little bit of love again. The 4-Wheel Parts, Amada, Amsoil, Axle, Best Top, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School, G2, Genrite, Griffin Radiator, HCR, Holley EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, Lasernut, MBRP, Method, Monster, Nitto, Optima, PCI, ProComp, RCV, Renegade Fuel, Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smitty Built, Spider Track, Squatchbox, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Warren, and Yukon. Thanks to all those sponsors that helped put this on. Without those guys, we would not be racing today, so please support who supports us.